All right. So I'm going to do this first example right here, and we're going to kind of label some stuff. So the exterior angle theorem says that if you extend, I'm going to jump to that exterior angle theorem really fast. Hang on, right here. I'm just going to go over this really fast. The exterior angle theorem says that if you extend a side of your triangle, if you extend one of the sides, you create what's called an exterior angle. So I'm just going to draw a triangle, and then I'm going to extend one of the sides like this. So just sketch a triangle. This is on page 5. I just want to go through the exterior triangle theorem because you guys already know the triangle sum theorem. The exterior triangle theorem is what you guys missed. So if you extend one of the sides, you create this thing called an exterior angle. So this is the exterior angle. Do you guys see how I just extended the base or whatever? And there's something unique about the exterior angle. So the exterior angle equals the sum of the two remote interior angles. And sometimes that word remote may say non-adjacent. So it's good to kind of talk about because you'll see it both ways. I think that Delta Math sometimes uses non-adjacent, and some of the progress learning questions say non-adjacent. Most of the time it says remote. So if you think about the word adjacent, if Jack and Edgar are sitting right next to each other, they're adjacent to each other, right? So if you think about non-adjacent, it means that it's not next to the exterior angle. Oh, sorry, that's because I can't spell. Non-adjacent. Sorry. There we go. How about that? Non-adjacent. So if you think about, if I were to number these like 1, 2, 3, and 4, number 4 is the exterior angle. What are the two angles that aren't next to angle 4? They don't touch angle 4 at all. Angle 1 and 2. So angle 1 and angle 2 are the remote interiors. They could also be called the non-adjacent. And so the exterior angle, which is the measure of angle 4, equals the sum of the two remote interiors. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. So that's what the exterior angle theorem says. So we're going to kind of toggle back and forth between using the triangle sum theorem, which says that the sum of all the angles add up to what? The one that you guys learned on Friday, 180. Yeah. And then we're going to use the remote or the exterior angle, which says that the sum of the two remote interiors equals the exterior. Okay. So let's start with page 4 where we left off. Is someone still writing this down? Okay. I'll leave it there for a second. I'll submit attendance really fast. Okay, well, we can try today. Are we good? Can I go on? Okay. What?
How is 4 equal to 1 plus 2?
Okay, so it is. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we do an example. I just want you to have the rule written down. You got it? Okay. So let's go back up to page 4. This is where we left off, part 1 of your notes. So when you guys took your notes on Friday, and I'm assuming that everybody watched the video, you learned a lot of definitions. So one of the definitions that you learned was about two angles that are formed by two intersecting lines or segments. What are those called? They're called vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent. So if this angle has a measure of 35, then this angle also has a measure of 35. Okay. So I know that we're trying to find this question mark. I'm going to call it X. That's the exterior angle. You guys see that? X is the exterior angle. But before we do that, which will answer Tyler's question, let's figure out what this side is, that Y, that other angle.
Wouldn't you add 135 to see what that angle? Or no?
Yeah. So, yep. So 100 plus 35 plus Y has to equal 180. So essentially, I'm going to subtract 135 from both sides. Are you guys okay with that math? So what is the measure of Y? Y is 45. Okay. What kind of line or what kind of pair is formed right here? This is a specific kind of pair. You learned that if you have two angles and they have an adjacent side, they have a common like side or adjacent side, and they form opposite rays. These two angles are called what? Do you guys remember what they form? Do you know what this is?
180.
It has a measure of 180. It's called a linear pair. That was one of your definitions, right? A linear pair. Okay. So it does form 180. So X plus Y equals 180. But we just discovered that Y is 45. So if I were to subtract 45 from both sides, I would find out that X equals 135. God bless you. So this exterior angle of this triangle, is the sum of the two remote interiors. So we called this Y and this X. This is the exterior. We just discovered that this equals 135 using linear pair. And we know that this equals 45 using triangle sum theorem. And we know this is 35 because vertical angles are congruent. So that's why, Tyler, the exterior angle has the same measure as the two remote interiors. Okay? Because it comes from the definition of a linear pair. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's look at the next one. I'm going to just try and go straight down. Are you guys with me? Are we okay? All right. So my next one says, we'll just call this guy X, this question mark X. So I'm trying to solve for X. So I'm going to write it as 180 minus the sum of these two. So I'm going to write 180 minus 150 equals X. Are you guys okay with that if I do that? Did a little bit of mental math, right? I just added up those two measures, 130 and 20 is 150, and then I subtracted instead of adding. So 30 equals X. Are y'all good with that? Because that's really probably the way that you are doing it. You're not really like saying this plus this plus this equals 180. You're doing some mental math. Tyler.
Do you want an eraser that I can borrow?
I do not have an eraser. This is what I have left. It's been eaten off, and I gave away all my small ones. Okay, so what about this next one? What about this next triangle? What are some things that you know? Well, you actually, so are you saying that this is the exterior angle? Okay. So this equals this plus this, but we don't know what that is. It equals 60 plus X. So 155 equals 60 plus X. Keep going. You're right. Mm-hmm. So 95 equals X. Perfect. So this measure right here is 95. So what is this measure? That's the one that it's really asking for. What do these two angles form? They form a linear pair, which equals what, Colt? Pick your head up. What'd you say a linear pair was earlier? You did. You shouted it out. 180. So 95 plus y has to equal 180. So when I subtract 95 from both sides, what does y equal? 85. And that's what we were trying to find. So y is 85 degrees. Y is 85 degrees. For those of you that get filled out notes, I'll print this as soon as we're done with it, okay? I'll print this as soon as we're done with it. How do we feel about that? Okay, let's go to this next one. So we have this one to do. So you have an algebraic expression. So 70 plus 60 is what? So 130 plus x plus 2 plus 8x plus 2. Yeah, honey.
For like a real quick second, can you scroll up to on the very right, second one from the top? Okay, thank you.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you just do 70 plus 60 plus 2 minus 180, and then you divide it by 8 or something?
Yeah, I just don't have anything to write with. My pen stopped working. So I'm going to say 130. That's what 70 plus 60 is. Plus 8x plus 2 equals 180. So I really have 132 plus 8x equals 180. I'm going to subtract 132 from both sides, and what does that give me? So 8x equals 48, which means x equals 6. So this measure is 8 times 6 plus 2, which is 50. Are you guys okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's good with that? Okay, can I go on to the bottom one there? I think we need to do the bottom one on that page, yes?
See.
Okay.
In the part 1 to the left, down 3 from the top.
We didn't do this. Do I need to do this one? Okay, let's do this one. So the part 2, is that where I am at? What am I going to do? Pretty easy, tell me. So 85 and 50 is 135. So 180 minus 135 is 45. Yeah. 180 minus 135. Yep.
Degrees.
Yes, sir. It equals 45 degrees. Okay. All right. Down here. I just threw it. It's somewhere. I'm so over technology in this building. All right. Let's look at this next one. So what are some things that we need to do? Vertical angle. So that means that this is 8x plus 4. So when we think about remote exterior or remote interior angles, I have 3x minus 6. That's this guy right here. Plus 8x plus 4. That's this remote interior right here. Equals the exterior. So let's combine our x's. 8x plus 3x is negative 6 and 4 equals, what am I going to do next? Add 2 to both sides. So 11x equals 132, which means x equals 12. So you're really supposed to plug that back in and find the missing angle measure. It's just wanting us to find angle A. So the measure of angle A is the expression 3x minus 6. So really 3 times 12 minus 6 is What? What's 3 times 12 minus 6? Perfect. So the measure of angle A is 30 degrees. Are we good with that? Okay. Flip the page, page 5 top. Page 5 at the top. Whenever I have a right angle, you guys know that right angles are what? 90 degrees. So I don't use the whole like triangle sum theorem. I just know that 180 minus 90 is 90. So I just set these two guys equal to 90. X plus 37 plus X plus 67 equals 90. Are y'all okay with that? Okay. So X plus X is 2X. 37 and 67. That's a horrible plus sign. I believe is 104 equals 90. So when I subtract 104 from both sides, I find out that 2X equals negative 14, which means X equals negative 7. Now don't get discouraged because your X, your variable, is a negative answer. As long as your angle measures aren't negative, it's okay, right? So negative 7 plus 37 is 30 degrees. And 67 plus a negative 7 is 60 degrees. Did you not get a pass? You did. Okay. All right. So those are your measures. All right. All right. So I'm going to keep going. Guys, hush. Let's get through this. So how are we going to set this one up? So vertical angle, 4X plus 17. All of these three angles have to add up to what? 180. Are you guys okay if we just combine some like terms while we write this down? So 4X plus X is 5X. 17 plus 23 is 30. 40. It's really 40. So I was just counting like 7, 10, 30, 40 plus 80 is 120 equals 180. So when we subtract 120 from both sides, I find out that 5X equals, which means X equals 12. Okay. We still have to find the measure of angle A. We're still trying to find the measure of angle A. And that's the expression X plus 23. Well, if X is 12, 12 plus 23 is measure of angle A equals 35 degrees. Did you guys have any of this like angle measures in 8th grade?
Somewhat.
Like
Not this
intense, but you did. You guys knew what supplements were, right?
Yeah,
Supplementary
like,
angles and
graph,
complementing.
and it's, like the one in the middle, half of a clock, and it's like what angle is this side, how much is this side.
Okay. Is it? Okay. 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 So here we go. We already know about the remote interior angles or non-adjacent angles. So we're going to use the exterior angle theorem. So exterior angle to remote interior. So the exterior angle has to equal the sum of the two remote interior. I'm just going to use the question mark. Yeah, it's 70. We would just subtract 50 from both sides. So the missing angle is 70 degrees. Yeah. Set it up for us, Carter. Yeah, Carter took 115 minus 50 and got the missing side. 65, or the missing angle equals the missing angle. Carter, why does that work?
I don't know, it just worked whenever.
You do know why that works.
Well, I didn't understand how it worked when we did the quizzes assignment yesterday. And then when I got, because it was on the quizzes assignment, and we didn't go really over it in the notes. So I kind of just figured out by process of elimination.
Okay.
I don't really understand how it works.
So if you were to solve for, if we were to make this a variable g, if you were trying to get g all by itself, what would you do?
I would subtract it. Yeah. I makes sense.
I just turned that question mark into a G, Cole. That's what I did. So he could understand the equation. That's why it works, right? Okay. Yes. All right. So here's what